Hello everybody, welcome to the Fundamental Analysis webinar. My name is Troy. I'll be leading the session this afternoon for AvaTrade. As we get started, let's do a quick systems check if you would. Type OK in the chat box if you're hearing me clearly and seeing my screen all right. All right, great. Looks like we're up and running fine. Thank you. If anyone has any issues as we go along, please feel free to let me know in the chat box. As always, keep in mind, no one trade is guaranteed to profit. Each and every trade you take has risk involved, and so you want to manage your risk in a way that makes sense for you, with some combination probably of stop losses, hedge positions. Maybe you use AvaProtect, which is a nice feature we can talk about in a little bit that can be part of your risk management plan. But in some way, make sure you're managing your risk in a way that makes sense for you. And also keep in mind that what we cover is meant to be educational and not to be taken as financial advisement. So real quick, what is fundamental analysis before we actually get into the fundamental analysis? Basically, it's what's happening around the world in terms of news, economic announcements, headlines, etc. And we always kind of talk about two main types of fundamental news. One would be what we call regular economic events. Those are scheduled in advance. We know what they'll be about. We know the time of day, the day of the week, etc. And then there are other types of what we call extraordinary economic events. These are the breaking headlines that come sometimes unexpectedly, many times unexpectedly, and you really can't plan for the exact timing or topic that this type of fundamental news could bring. So the idea with the extraordinary economic events, with proper pending orders placed, you can take advantage of the extraordinary news if and when it comes in. So it's something we'll take a look at, take some time in the session today to talk a bit about. As we go along, if you have any questions, if you want to give any input, please do so in the chat box. I'm happy to share ideas or answer questions as we go. Let's see. Let's look at the headlines first. And so if we're looking at some of the headlines, what we're seeing is somewhat negative sentiment on the day today. And so we see this first headline that we're looking at, miners, weak earnings, drag European stocks down. Okay, drag European stocks lower. So negative sentiment in that headline. On the European stocks, we also see here the futures in the US are in the red. They closed in the green yesterday. That's what these ones here are. The futures market is starting out red, so that's matching what the headline says about the European stocks as well. And we can see everything makes sense here in this little snippet. We can see that the volatility index is up, not hugely, but moderately up, about 3% almost on the volatility VIX index. And so that shows some signs of fear on the market as the VIX index is up a bit. And so everything matches. We've got the futures red. We've got volatility or fear up slightly. We've got the US dollar strengthening, which it tends to do when there's fear on the markets. And so that strengthening USD tends to help pull stocks down and oil and gold, etc. So this is something that we can see real quick in terms of the sentiment being somewhat negative. And then we look at some of the other headlines. And I had another one up, and unfortunately, it looks like everything reset itself. But what we're looking at is, here's what I wanted to show you, the economic calendar. The Philadelphia manufacturing numbers will be looked at closely today. It's a 3-star announcement, which means high volatility expected with that. And we've also got the European Leaders Summit going on today, so that could cause some movement. And we also have existing home sales coming in out of the U.S. today, another large announcement. And so could be a good trading day with a lot of movement. It looks like it's setting up that way, especially with those announcements coming in. If you haven't started trading on the movements today yet, you might have a look because they are moving with some good volatility. Now, another headline, China Evergrande secures bond extension as chairman foots project bills. This China Evergrande situation isn't going away anytime soon, it doesn't seem. And this is a big property giant in China, and they're having all kinds of issues. It looks like they had some success maybe with a bond extension, but there was some negative news yesterday, and there's still a lot of fear about what's going on there. And we see, here's Evergrande mentioned again as stocks stall, oil cools, Evergrande and Lira fall. So there's the Evergrande issue again, rearing its head. So as we move to the charts here in just a moment, we'll keep in mind that that's the fundamental sentiment right now. Kind of negative, not largely negative, but more negative than positive, certainly. And so we expect to see bearish pressure probably on oil, on gold, on some other instruments, perhaps. Now, a couple things I want to show you before we get on the MT4 platform. If you go to the trading platforms on AvaTrade's main website here, if you go with your mobile device, you can download AvaTrade Go. I think everyone should check it out if you haven't already. It certainly has some features on it that you don't see with other platforms, and you don't see it on the MT4 platform or MT5. And some of what you see here, Ava Protect, it's a special protection feature. For a small premium cost, you can protect against any and all losses for defined time periods, and you can protect your trade by the hour, by the day, etc. And all the profits are yours. If it profits, all the losses are not yours. They're wiped clean if you have losses during the protected time period. And so you would get a payment from the protection if you had losses during a protected time period. So it's a very cool risk management feature. And what you'll also see is when you program the take profit and stop loss in the order window, it calculates your potential profit and your potential loss for you and converts it to your account currency. So very nice risk management features that really help make risk management a lot easier. Now, if we log in here from the main website, what you'll find is that you're on our web trader platform, which looks like this, okay? And you'll find all of those same features that I just showed you that we just discussed on the app. You'll find those on the web trader platform as well. And also some other features, which since we're talking about fundamental analysis, if we go to the Trading Central feature, you can find, in addition to the economic calendar, Forex featured ideas, you have free signals here, technical analysis done for you. You also have Market Buzz, which does some fundamental analysis for you. This is a demo account, so it's not loading, but the feature here would show all kinds of different stocks that you can click on, and it'll bring up the most recent articles on those instruments for you to read. So that work has been done for you with that service. So very cool features, only found on the web trader. Now, just to show you real quick, if I'm buying or selling on any FX pairing, gold or silver, you're going to see the Ava Protect feature. Okay, and now on a demo, it's not active on all demos. This one it is. I can see that it's functioning. On all live accounts, Ava Protect is there. And what we're looking at, you can protect by the hour, you can protect by multiple hours, by the day, etc. And so for a small cost, you can protect for those time periods. And as part of a risk management plan, it can be very useful. And then we look at the take profit, the stop loss, same as with the AvaTrade Go app. It's calculating your possible profit and possible loss for you as you enter in your take profit price and your stop loss price. So very nice, very convenient features to use. Now, hello. I don't know if you're still with me. My screen. Apologies. Type OK if you're still there, if you're still with me. I had a slight system outage for a second there. Just type OK if you're hearing me and you're still with me. All right, great. Looks like we're up and running again. I apologize for the delay there. And let's go ahead and continue. So I was bringing up the MT4 platform. We'll take a look at some potential trade opportunities that you might be interested in and apply some strategy along the way. So what do I have here? The US Tech 100. So these are, and let me zoom in just a little, back out, look better. The 30-minute candles we see, okay? And there was quite a rush up, and now we've formed a bit of a resistance on the chart. And I could delete this one. And this up here, this line represents the upper resistance up here. We see it hit a couple times and pulled back. And since then, we've been in a downtrend. And if we look at smaller candles, say 15-minute, we see we've got another resistance level here that was an old support level. So we see support, 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 and then once it broke below there, it became resistance over here, resistance, resistance, and this got near that level and found resistance and dropped down. And again, seems to be finding resistance and dropping. So with the negative sentiment today and the strengthening USD, etc., it could make sense to try to short an instrument like this. And I'll just go ahead as an example on the demo account here. And my stop loss then, if I go above this high here, my stop loss is beyond one resistance level. Resistance, resistance. If I put my stop loss up here, I now have my stop loss protected by two resistance levels, meaning the movement would have to break above this resistance and go up and break above this larger resistance here, which was the old support level back here, before it would hit my stop loss. And the idea here is you're thinking maybe negative sentiment, futures are red, US dollar is strengthening today, and so the sentiment is on your side, and unless the sentiment changes, you might feel safe that the movement shouldn't go up and break these two resistance levels and hit your stop loss. That's the idea with trading with the fundamental news. And so technically it's a nice entry point because the NASDAQ, the US Tech 100, rose up quite a bit today, and it seems to be trying to push down right as we're watching. And so my take profit, I might put at the first support level here. Okay, that gives me slightly better potential profit than risk. Or if I'm looking for a longer term move, maybe I'm putting my take profit down here at the next support level down here, just above these low points. So and that's up to you as an individual trader. Are you looking for a larger movement, a smaller movement? I'll put it back up here just above that support level. And you know, the closer you have your take profit, the more likely it is to hit before the news can change, right? And the further away you have your take profit, the more time it takes to get there potentially, and you always run the risk of that other kind of fundamental news, the unexpected headline type of fundamental news that could come and swing the market back the other way, which is why we protect ourselves typically with a stop loss, some sort of risk management, just in case that does happen. But most of the time, the headlines aren't coming so fast. You can trade on the sentiment for a while before there's a major swing in the sentiment. Okay, so we also could look at something like Bitcoin, and we see it was a huge bull run up on Bitcoin recently, and it actually reached, I believe, the all-time high. If we go to 1 week candles, you see here it did. This was the all-time high here back quite a number of weeks ago, and now we see it blew past there. And so this then is a natural area where the movement could find support. Okay, that's the old resistance on the 1 week candles, this price. And you see now it went above. So as this is pulling back down, it might find support here and bounce back up off this price. Okay, that's a natural support level, technically speaking. So now we can go in and look at, say, 4 hour candles and say, wow, that support level is close. And it actually did. It pulled back to it once already and bounced up. So it already confirmed that it wants to bounce from this support area. It had these 2 wicks and then right back up. Okay, so if you're looking to trade on Bitcoin, you have a couple options here. You could trade on the pullback, right? It's above that support level now. Maybe it pulls back again. You also could look to go long here and get your stop loss maybe below this price level, below these wicks, because that has confirmed itself, at least for the time being, as a level of support. Okay, and so could easily go in here. You know, you take a trade size that makes sense, more volatile, right? So maybe smaller trade size than the other instruments that you trade on. And maybe I do a buy position here, and I put my stop loss below this support level, and my take profits go to the 1 week candles. Maybe I just put up here near that all-time high that it reached recently. Okay, so I'm going after a larger profit than what I'm risking. You know, not a real aggressive move, but it's something that could turn out. Now, if we take a look at gold, let's say, and crude oil, gold we see has climbed. There's been some fears of inflation, especially on the US dollar, so that has helped to push gold up quite a bit. But now we see a resistance level here on the 15-minute candles. Resistance, 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 resistance. It keeps pushing down from this area. And if the US dollar is strengthening some today, you might see this as an opportunistic spot to maybe try and short gold. Okay, just going with the fundamental situation with some fear on the markets, and the fear wasn't about inflationary fear, which would drive gold up. The fear was more about economic problems. So that type of fear tends to strengthen the US dollar and help to pull gold down many times. So if we're looking then at potential moves on gold, you could be looking and saying, okay, maybe we take a shot to short gold and get your stop loss above the resistance, managing the risk without too much of a risk to get above the resistance. And you take profit if this runs the right way. You could look to take profit somewhere above one of the support levels. There's the first spot where you find a support level here. Support, 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 where it hit and went up, hit and went up, and hit and went up even more recently. And so, again, we're looking at potential profit much better than what we're risking. Much larger potential profit than the risk. And that's all set up both with the technical entry point being opportunistic, and also the direction is set up with the fundamentals, hopefully, on our side with this sort of move. Any questions at this point? Anything anybody wants to ask or add? Henry, I'm not sure what you're asking. You're saying, can it pull down more? You're talking about gold? It certainly could pull down more, but there's no guarantee, obviously. So we're looking at different price levels. If you're more of a longer term move type trader, you might be looking at 1760 as you suggest, to get beyond the first support level and put your, if I can grab it here, and put your take profit down at the next support level, maybe down here. Okay, I see around 1778 or so, the next support level, and you're looking down here at 1760 something. So you're going quite a ways down through some larger support levels. Okay, but for now, I'll leave this simulation here. And if you go to the 1 hour candles, you start to see, okay, there's a more major support level down here. If I draw a line, you will see it here. Okay, this is a larger, longer standing support levels with the 1 hour candle support, support, support. It went up, it came back down, found support on that price again, and that's right around 1760, as you say. Okay, so a bigger move, certainly pull your take profit down here, if that's the price range that you're hoping to stay in it until it gets there. You also could put your take profit down like this, and if it comes down to this area and you want to pocket some profit, you can do a partial close also. So it's not all or nothing. You have some different options with what you can do. So very good question, and nice of you to point out that price level down at around 1760, because it is a nice support level down there. All right, so maybe we take a look at a currency or two. If we look at Euro USD, you know what? Let's look at crude oil, and then we'll look at the Canadian, because it's so connected with crude oil, the strength of the Canadian. So we see crude oil has pushed down over the day. These are 1 hour candles. It's down quite a bit, and that's no surprise. It's because there's fear on the markets. The U.S. dollar is strengthening, so crude oil has pulled down. It's not a surprise. It looks like it's trying to bounce right now. I think the way the fundamental news situation is right now, that if it bounces up, it might make sense to try and short it if you can catch a higher price and put your stop loss above today's high up here. Okay, I don't like the entry point right now, but it does look like it's trying to bounce up. You could put a pending sell limit maybe somewhere up here near today's high, and if oil gives you that price and you're looking to short it, then that's an opportunistic entry point that you could potentially grab up there with a sell limit pending order. So very, very easy to prepare a sell limit pending order to sell from a higher price if it gets there. Pending order, switch the type to pending, pick sell limit, and then we pick the price that we want. And maybe it's 83.7, something like that as an example. That's my entry price. Maybe I'm willing to risk $1 per barrel, go to 84.7, and take profit. Maybe we're thinking it'll pull all the way down near 80 or something like that. So 80.5, let's say. Okay, and so there's our pending sell limit. Waiting in case the price comes up near the resistance. Stop loss is up above that resistance quite a ways. If I go to 4-hour candles, I can see I've got it up here by this line up here. And the take profit is much larger potential profit than what we're risking. Okay, let me get rid of some of these lines. And now we can see the lines for the trade. So 1-day candles there. On the 1-day candles, now I can see my stop loss. This is the entry line. If it hits that price, stop loss is above this high. So it would have to break to a new high for the month if it was to hit the stop loss. And the fundamentals are on our side, hopefully to push it down towards that support level. If we go the 4-hour candles, we can see this is an old support level here. Support, support, and up, which was an old resistance level. And that's the way you see these work many times. Resistance, resistance. Once it broke above, that same price became support and support. So to take profit somewhere before that could make sense. Okay, good question. You're asking how does a partial take profit work? Let's choose gold here. I'll demonstrate it. So you go to modify or delete. Change it from modify to market. And now before I click close, I can close any portion of the trade that I want. So instead of closing the whole thing, I can say, okay, I'm going to close 0.02. And it tells me before I click close right here, that's the amount I'm closing for that trade. So now when I close the 0.02, it pockets that amount of profit. So 20% of the profit that was showing got pocketed because I closed 20% of the trade. And the rest of the trade and the floating P&L is still open. Now it's 0.08 running instead of 0.1. Okay, so that's how you do the partial close. And a lot of times that's part of a risk management strategy, profit strategy, to pocket some profit as it goes and let the rest keep running. And if it gets far enough in profit, maybe you move your stop loss to your entry point. So not only have you pocketed profit, but you guarantee that you're not going to lose anything more back, even if it went back to your entry, other than maybe small overnight interest if you're holding the trades overnight. So those are different ideas for managing your risk as you go along, because like we said, the fundamental news can change. And so you want to manage things in a way that you understand that movements aren't going to last forever, and the last headline's only moving the market until the next headline does, right? So you have to keep that in mind, and that's why many times I'm showing opportunities with shorter distances to the take profit, because we're covering some storylines and some headlines, and those apply to what's happening right now and not necessarily to what's happening tomorrow or etc. Looks like some of these trades are starting to try to go our way as well. The US Tech 100 has dropped into profit. The Bitcoin USD is trying to overcome the spread. We'll see how far that buy position will go up for us or not. But listen, I think we've got a lot of nice movements today. I think the market's somewhat easy to read. And so I would say take a look at the charts, look at the instruments. You could look at other ones other than what we looked at, or some of the same. And you might see some entry points like we looked at here that you like, and go after some opportunities today, understanding that the sentiment is slightly negative right now. Okay, everybody, any last questions before we end the webinar? Okay, great. I don't see anything popping up. Thank you all for joining. Good luck with your trading today. I think it'll be a good day for trading. So good luck with that. And I'll be back at it next week on Tuesday evening for the next webinar. Thank you for joining. Bye for now.